you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red royals, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
Get ready to connect. ESPN Northwest Florida is thrilled to introduce the newest rock stars to the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome to the Beach Chamber. 18 Power Connectors, Commodore Owners Association Rentals, Edward F. Hickey Jr. Trust, Local Rays Apparel, South Oak Title 30A, and the Milkshake Factory, now open.
We're here to champion your success and connect you with this amazing community.
Congratulations from ESPN Northwest Florida.
And the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce, reaching Bay County and beyond.
Introducing Water Clear Pools, the home of the 10-week pool guarantee. We guarantee custom pool completion from permit to your first swim in 10 weeks or less. Water Clear Pools is the premier pool builder for the Margaritaville development on Highway 79. Free quotes and custom pools anywhere in Northwest Florida. Call now, 850-835-4177, or see our website, waterclearpool.com. Licensed and insured. License number CPC 1459723.
It's David Hayes from ESPN Northwest Florida. If you've been in an accident, here's something I tell people all the time. Right after you call your insurance, call Jed Lawyers. They know how to jump in early, deal with the adjusters, and protect you from the start. You don't pay a thing unless they win. And yeah, they're right here downtown. Call 850-852-0000 or go to jedwins.com.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios.
Are you ready?
Okay, let's begin.
Trip. The Afternoon Underdog Trip. Live and local. Inside the Talk House.
Unleash the dragon.
On the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Keep making noise. Keep making noise. Yeah.
And welcome to the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe. And as always, you can download the app. Take us with you everywhere you go. James Fife in the captain's chair on the day. And with me today, Tyler Bishop. How are we doing, Tyler?
Doing fantastic. Beautiful afternoon out there today.
Excellent. And Caveman Rick behind the glass, hitting the buttons, making it happen. Caveman, how is it?
It's a great day. Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here on a fine Tuesday afternoon with you gentlemen.
Great Tuesday, everybody, and all of you listeners out there. Thank you for so much tuning in, hanging out with us here on this Tuesday. If you want to talk to us, want to text us, give us a call or a text on the Jed Lawyer phone and text line 850-215-6290. And we are coming to you live from the CBC Construction Studios. And if you can hear me right now and you are looking for a great job, CBC Construction is hiring right now as we speak. Head on over to their website. They got everything that you need to know right there. You can even fill out the application right from the comfort of your own home. Can't beat that, guys. Cannot beat that. Let's get into the sports for the day. We'll go over some Major League Baseball scores to start off the day. No day games today, no afternoon games started, so we will just be going over the scores from last night. Braves came out with a win against the Rockies, the lowly Rockies, 6-3. The New York Mets put the hurting on the Washington Nationals in our nation's great capital, 19-5. That was a beating.
That's rough.
That's a rough one. The Twins take on the Guardians in Cleveland. Twins victorious 11-1 over the Guardians. Orioles getting a big win over the Yankees 4-3 last night. Cincinnati Reds continue their winning ways. Man, I don't know.
One of those words, right?
Could not get that one out. That one did not come. All right, Reds 3. Cardinals 1. Athletics get the win 2-1 over the Rangers. Tigers taking on the Astros. Astros get the win at home 8-5. And in 10 innings, took them 10 innings to do this, but the Dodgers defeat the Marlins 7-6. Nothing really stand out there other than yesterday afternoon. That was an afternoon game between the Mets and the Nationals. Brandon Nimmo had a game. Came into the day with a 192 average. But for the day, he had 6 at-bats, 4 hits, 4 runs, 9 RBIs, 2 home runs, and went 4 for 4 with runners in scoring position, lifted his average above the Mendoza line to a 219 with just 1 day's worth of work.
God, 19-5 though. That's a whooping on it.
That was, just a beating. It was, Nationals tried to get it back. They got 5 runs in the 8th inning. But at that point it was already 15-5. So one of those. It looked great. You got some runs on the board, but what do they say? Too little?
Too little, too late.
Too late.
So, somebody may have gotten some contract incentives by getting a few of those runs. Those are season-long incentives here. That don't matter if it's garbage time or not, right? It all counts the same for those bonuses. But
yeah, exactly. Hey, they got their worst bullpen arm in right now. I know I can crack one over the fence. It'll give me an extra
Phillies
1,000.
got the Nationals starting tonight, so hey, there's something there.
You got that one, man. Yeah, because it's. So do you like the Phillies coming into a game where the Nationals have just been totally embarrassed, or would you feel a little bit better if it was more of an even game?
Probably a little bit better if it was more of an even game, because now you're kind of thinking that they're due to come back from that and bounce back after getting their rear ends handed to them like that. But I got some faith in my boys. We're playing at home. Nationals aren't too great of a team anyways, so
they are not.
Hopefully we can get another W.
Yeah, Nats, let's see, had a 4-game series. No, this was a 3-game series. No, it was a 4-game series.
Wheeler's starting tonight, too, I think, for the Phillies.
That would be, that's
so
a
that
good
should
one.
help, yeah.
Yeah, Wheeler dealing, that is good news for the Phillies, especially against a Nationals team that, let's face it, not hitting. They're hitting the ball. They got 12 hits in the game, but they are not getting anybody past second base almost. Right. They are stranding. When you strand people on base in almost the double-digit numbers for multiple games in a row, I don't want to call that a management problem, but you've got to find ways at some point to get guys to start moving over.
At that point, should they be I'm not a big baseball, so should they be kind of maybe mixing up the lineup at that point, or is it
I think they need to go to more small ball, try to bunt, move people over, sacrifice. It's all about swinging for home runs or striking out. And if you're playing more small ball and you're putting the ball into play, you tend to move people over. Stealing bases too, another way. You can get guys move it over. But definitely the small ball route, though.
Yeah, I'll agree with Rick on that one. They need to, because the bases are bigger, you're getting more stolen bases. Yeah. So you need to just try more steals. You need to come out there with a couple of hit and runs.
And then at this point, you can't be any worse, right?
Yeah, at that point, when you're down already by 10 and you've only got 3 innings left, you might as well just start experimenting to see what you can get, because if you see a combination that, okay, these guys are doing this well together on the base pass, you can at least continue it on to another day and fight again.
We'll also make them have to make the play. If you're doing the hit and runs like James was saying or something, that's where the potential somebody overthrows, there's an error, and then you get an extra bag there, and then that turns into an overthrow, and then all of a sudden you get a run, and so that chain reaction kind of events can happen when you're playing small ball like that too. Like
the Eloy Romanos inside the park Little League walk-off home run that he had on Sunday.
I seen a highlight on that, yeah.
Oh, that was classically great. It was just a little dribbler down the third baseline. Third baseman launches it over the first baseman's head. So everybody goes chasing after it because now it's a Little League setup. Right. And Ramos rounds second for third, so second baseman picks up the ball, throws it towards third, of course, throws it nowhere near third base, and Ramos just rounds third now, and we head for home on 2 throwing errors. Actually, they did change that. They changed that to give him a hit and then an advancement on the throwing error,
okay.
which I felt that should have just been 2 errors to begin
Is that
with.
home cooking? Somebody scoring it?
I think so. Well, no, because it was changed later.
Yeah, okay.
So it was one of those they came back and looked at it and was like, I guess that could be a hit. I mean, yeah, it was a tough play. You're running into the ball to get it. But me watching it as somebody that was a scorer for baseball, it wasn't so hard that a guy that is a Major League Baseball player made that throw so horrible it gave up 3 more bags for somebody to score. You know, that was one of those cases where he should have at least had it and stopped it. It's not, if he would have just caught it and stopped it and kept the guy at first, I might have seen a single given to that, but because he tried for the advancement to get the out, it was when he tried to have that advanced out that caused the error, and that's why it should have been scoring error. Just my soapbox there on being an official scorer for that. But, hey, they changed it, so it's still not an earned run because the run still scored on an error on the throw to third, so I don't know what it really changes other than...
Now we're just arguing semantics at this point that we're doing.
Yeah, Ramos' average goes up.
Just stats for, like, either pitchers, ERAs, and like, stuff like that, too, when you're talking hits and runs. And
yeah, it doesn't. It's not a run batted in now because the error was the way that he got home. So it's not technically an earned run at this point.
It matters to somebody, I guess, right?
It matters in gambling and stuff like that, too, on whether somebody got a hit or didn't get a hit.
Okay. So there is some, like, legitimate... All right, now we're talking money here.
Well,
now
it's like, okay, so yesterday I had a parlay going on, and it's in the Phillies game, and I did end up getting a hit, I guess, with the player, I think, but it ended up being called the fielder's choice, where the play went to the second baseman, and it could have went to the first baseman as well, technically, but the way the play, like, panned out and the way the ball was moving and the players were, it was impossible to get the ball to first base in time to get the out, right? So technically you can call it a fielder's choice, but that's really, like, BS because there was really no play at first base, you know, in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
But they still call it that. So when I see stuff like that happening sometimes, I'm thinking, like, they shouldn't call it. That should be a hit.
That's one of those where I think you should be able to call it a hit, but the thing is baseball rules written in stone like that, they're not going to change it because it's just the way that the baseball rules are written that any time that they take the first out, the advanced out on the bags, it's a fielder's choice.
Yeah.
Even though you could, like, have the guy, like, Billy Hamilton run down first base in half a second, and he's already been there for 5 minutes, while you got, like, Frank Thomas running in front of him, so it takes him 30 seconds to get to second base. Still a fielder's choice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get the rule, and I understand why they score it that way, but at the same time, it's kind of like,
No, I'll agree with you on that one. I think
there's certain circumstances where that shouldn't be called like that, but what are you going to do?
Well, and the thing is baseball loves hits, so that's like one of those easy rules you could change quite easily in an off season, and instead of putting, no hits up on the board, you can put another hit up on the board.
That's true. And if you do it like that, too, I don't think a lot of people would have a problem with it either.
No, because people,
like old heads,
people like
hits. Would complain,
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those that it's a simple, easy one to do. It's not like making bags bigger or killing the shift.
Yeah,
it's one of those that it's just like, oh, okay, we changed a few rules.
Just
changed a few words.
Yeah, if you'll say the wording or something like that, just the legality of the way the words are written.
Yeah, and I think it'd be better for baseball. I don't think they'll ever change that rule, though. That's one that's going to sit and stay for a good until something super weird happens for like a big all-star that doesn't get like some kind of record because of like one final out in a final game. That's the only reason we're going to see that
again, they've been making some progress, though, making some changes, got the pitch clock, and doing stuff like that, and like, not being able to throw over to the bag more than a couple times. So I don't know, like maybe eventually we'll get there. Baseball's kind of they're progressing, kind of getting like golf now, seeing that there's some change, smelling the change coming, having to change with the change in times a little bit, because if not, they're going to get left in the past.
Yep.
They're seeing that with golf and with live. And they could have easily like avoided the whole conflict with the live had they just maybe not been so stuffy for all them years, And then finally somebody comes around with some money and say, all right, we'll change stuff around for you because money talks,
Yeah, to me it was the PGA was just being stubborn. No, we were here first. We can do whatever we want.
They didn't want to change.
Yeah, and then it turns out, well, when somebody introduces competition, you can't tell them what to do. That's your competition.
Yeah, they had like a monopoly on it in a sense until somebody, showed up with a bunch of money, the Saudis, and said, hey, or was it the PGL?
Is that the indoor golf?
No, the money source for the live.
Saudis mostly.
Yeah, but I mean, what was that collective? PLA, PLF? They called it something.
I don't remember what they call it, but I know it's all Saudi-backed money.
Yeah. Definitely. It's all oil money. Yeah, what it is.
Yeah, so that making it a world event, I guess.
But whatever works for them. I mean, like I said, they got the game, they got the players, they got the notoriety. So
people watch.
Yeah.
As long as people have eyeballs on it, they'll keep doing what they're doing.
People are showing up
too.
too.
What they want.
I mean, they're making it in events. Got music going, people wearing more casual type attire, changing it around. So, like I said, taking that stuffiness out. It's what a lot of people are looking for.
I think that'll go a long way, especially with younger type people watching golf.
Yeah,
nobody wants to stand out, wearing a pair of khakis when it's 105 out. Nobody wants to do that. Shorts? Yeah, what? PGA. Give me some shorts, man. Just going to say, give me some shorts. Let us move on into the NBA. Only 2 games last night in our great NBA playoffs that we got going on. The Cavaliers 138. The Miami Heat 83. Not a game at any point last night. I mean, at the end of the first quarter, the score was 43-17. It was well over before that game even started. I thought the Heat had a chance to at least be competitive in this series. I didn't think that they were just going to get laughed off the floor in 4 games, but hey, here we are. The Heat getting swept to the Cavaliers, which, I mean, young, hot team, and they're playing like they want to win, and the Heat came in just stumbling in. I mean, literally, they kind of stumbled into the thing, so shouldn't be surprised that they stumbled out. And the final game last night, Houston Rockets 106, Golden State Warriors 109. The Golden State Warriors take the lead in this series 3-1. Now, also shocking to me on that one, because the Rockets, again, like the Cavs, good young team. Warriors, kind of old, getting tired. I mean, old men get tired. I know that for a fact. But the Warriors are just outplaying them, and it's not that they're outrunning them. The Warriors aren't outrunning them. The Warriors aren't out-physicaling them, but the Warriors are playing a lot of smart ball. They're keeping it out. They're keeping it away. They're running the clock down. They're giving it to Steph for threes. It's worked in the past. They're using it now. Hey, they'll go in as a 7th team, and looks like they are going to make it into the next round, because the Rockets to win
3 in a row.
3 in a row.
It's asking a lot.
That's asking a lot. I don't know about the NBA versus the NHL when you get down, but I know in the NHL when you get down 3-1, it's like a 30% chance you've got of making it into the next round. So I am not thinking the Rockets will have the year that they thought we were going to have, but hey, that's why we play the games, right? Because we don't know what will happen. Tonight's games, let's see. First game of the evening, be it 5 o'clock tip-off. We will see the Bucks taking on the Pacers. Right now, the Pacers have the favorite at a -7.5 with an over-under of 222.5. The Pacers currently lead. They're not winning. They're leading the series 3-1 against the Bucks. I think the Pacers take this one tonight, finish it off. Bucks, great team, but all they got really is Anthopoulos, and I don't know how much longer he's going to be with the Bucks. I'm hearing trade rumors for him. Not sure how much truth there is to the matter, but, I mean, NBA has a lot of working pieces, a lot of moving pieces, so I wouldn't be shocked.
If he left it, I mean, he won there. He got him a championship, right? So, I mean, if he leaves, I guess, City can't be upset. They can't really complain. He did his job while he was there. He did say he probably wanted to finish his career there, but I don't think anybody thought that was going to be realistic. I mean, in this day and age, I mean, even the greatest players, I mean, look at Gretzky, the greatest hockey player ever, and he played on 4 different teams.
Yeah,
in his career.
four teams in the NHL.
I mean, everybody remembers Jordan with the Wizards. So, I mean, as much as you probably want to forget that kind of stuff, So, seeing him probably play for a different team, and he's not like one of the greatest ever yet. So, it's pretty fitting, I think, if he goes someplace. But if he goes someplace, what do you think? Like L.A., Where else is another destination?
I actually kind of think the Clippers might want to go in on it.
Yeah.
So that is L.A., but I don't think Lakers. I think Clippers.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking like splash names and stuff. You know, LeBron always in the mix, trying to get certain players to play with them. So maybe that's something he might be trying to do, make a move for.
That might be, because the NBA guys do like building, quote unquote, franchise teams that they usually don't win it, but they like to put them together.
Yeah.
So we'll just see how that goes. Second game of the evening, we will see the Detroit Pistons take on the New York Knicks. This game is in New York. Right now, the spread is in the Knicks' favor with a negative 5.5 and an over-under of 215.5. Currently, the New York Knicks have the lead in the series 3-1. I mean, to me, the Knicks winning a championship, that would be cool. That'd be good for New York City. I think it'd be pretty good for basketball. I mean, the Knicks are one of those teams you always look at. Like, man, they got a good team this year. They got a good team this year. And you have to go all the way back to 1973, 1974, when they got those two back-to-back championships, and they've basically been absent from any kind of deep playoff run since.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, I'd like to see the Knicks take it deep into the postseason and just give us some new winners every once in a while. That would be fun. A little more variety to the NBA game. Third game of the evening, we head up to Boston. The Orlando Magic, which you can hear sometimes right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, will be taking on the Boston Celtics. Boston has the favorite on the spread at a negative 11.5, over under of 198.5. Boston has the series lead at 3-1. I think this gets done tonight. Celtics move on. Magic, while having a wonderful season, having a great defense, just could not produce enough points throughout the season to keep up with everybody. You're keeping people from scoring. Now, bring some people in to score for yourself. And I think we've got a pretty good roster there in Orlando. Final game of the evening, the nightcap goes to the city of Denver. We will see the LA Clippers taking on the Nuggets. Clippers are the favorite by just a negative 1.5, 208.5 for our total. This series tied 2-2. I really thought the Nuggets were going to take this one. I was not expecting the Nuggets to kind of stutter and sputter in the first round like they have, because Jokic, constant MVP guy. I thought he was just going to be like, okay, guys, get on my back.
It kind of felt like when they won that championship a couple years ago, like they're just going to keep doing this, and they've made the postseason. But like you said, they haven't kind of taken that next step to be kind of go on that dynasty run we saw with Golden State. We've seen some LeBron teams do that, but they're kind of flopping around in this one.
They are.
Letting the Clippers hang in.
Yeah, I kind of figured when they got rid of their old coach and got their interim that they got now that they'd actually do something. That was a reason for getting rid of the head coach at the end of the season like that, trying to motivate the squad. I even put a futures bet down on that they might win the championship just because, like little something like that happens. Who knows, right? And it's not aging too well right now.
Yeah, it's one of those.
It's still early.
When you change a coach like that right before a playoff push, you're going to get one of two things. You're either going to get the guys motivated to go out there with greatness, or everybody's going to be deflated and your season just ended right there. So it's a gamble, total gamble. I understand why owners want to take it and managers want to take it. I mean, for me, though, heading into a playoffs, I just don't want to rock the boat that bad. But, hey, I don't got enough money to own an NBA team, so I guess I don't know too much.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are going to head into our first break. When we get back, we will have a Braves update. You are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs live from the CBC Construction Studios here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny the rest of the day with a wind coming out of the south around 13 miles per hour and 82. Tonight, look for a light breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 71. Tomorrow, a high around 79 and some sun. Thursday, very warm with a high of 81 and some sun. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Hey, it's David Hayes from ESPN Northwest Florida, right here in Panama City. Look, if you've been in an accident, I know your first call is usually the insurance, but don't stop there. Your next call should be Jed Lawyers. I've seen what they do. Local team, real results, no upfront fees. They're based right here in downtown Panama City, and they'll jump on your case from day one. Call 850-852-0000 or head to jedwins.com.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. From the diamond to the end zone. From the studio to the sideline. We're the destination for sports on the Gulf Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
You are tuned into the Afternoon Underdogs from the CBC Construction Studios right here in beautiful Panama City, Northwest Florida. You can find us on the airwaves, 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in the beautiful Forgotten Coast of Port St. Joe, and of course, download the app. Take us with you, no matter where you go. And we got to give a big congratulations to Quentin Lemon for winning our ESPN. Do we want to call it a challenge? No, we'll call it a contest. He was the contest winner. Got a couple of T-shirts. I got a T-shirt from ESPN, got a T-shirt from Golf Plus. Congratulations to you, Quentin Lemon. And I do believe we are still running our contest, so be sure to download the app and make sure to enter the contest button. Got a chance at winning some great T-shirts from ESPN 104.3 and Golf Plus. Now, this is Braves country, and the Braves are right here on the airwaves, 104.3, and the very next game will be tonight. Coverage will begin at 6:20, and the first pitch will be 7:40. Braves taking on the Rockies again today. Hopefully, they do just as well as they did last night. So we went over earlier, Braves did defeat the Rockies 6-3 last night. The Braves now move into a position where they are 13-15 on the season right now, which is much better standings than where they were to start off the season. Don't need to remind you guys where they were sitting there. But right now, currently third place in the National League East, right behind the Phillies, who are 15-13, and right in front of the Nationals, who are 13-16 on the season. Rockies are 4-24, and the Braves will take them on tonight. So over the last week, what did we see from the Braves? Well, actually, let's cover last night. How about we cover last night first? That makes a lot more sense, right?
Yeah.
Right. All right, last night, Bryce Elder comes up with the W, pitches 6 innings, gives up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, comes away with 4 Ks while only giving up 2 walks. For the Rockies, Ryan Feltner takes the loss. He only makes it 4.2 innings, gives up 10 hits in that time period, 5 earned runs, gets 4 Ks, gives up 1 walk. Raisel Iglesias gets another save on the season. 1 inning pitched, gave up 1 hit, 1 strikeout. And I guess the big thing that I can take away from this game is everybody last night for the Braves in the lineup, everybody gets a hit. You get a hit. You get a hit. You get a hit. Everybody coming away with the hit. Nick Allen coming away with 3 hits on the evening in 4 at-bats. Shortstop that is just catching fire, has a 292 average on the season. That is pretty great, you know, when we are talking young shortstops. Because usually you just want a shortstop to be hanging around somewhere the Mendoza line if he's playing some great defense, which is around 200. But if you're batting a 292, coming in as, he played a couple games last year. I think it's still technically his rookie year because he didn't play enough games. So getting that kind of production out of a nice young shortstop, Braves fans, take that all day long. Be happy with it. Braves did go through 4 pitchers last night. Elder, 6 innings pitched. Johnson had 1. Hernandez had 1. They both get holds for the day. And Rysel Iglesias gets 1 inning pitched and comes away with the save. Braves are coming out strong right now with their pitching. For the first pitch of the at-bat, they are throwing strikes. Johnson, 2 for 3, Iglesias 3 for 4, Hernandez 5 for 5. So if you're throwing strikes on the first pitch, you're throwing kind of a loophole into the sabermetrics things, because many coaches nowadays will tell you, do not swing at the first pitch. Always take the first pitch. Try to get it in your favor. Braves are kind of going on the opposite end with that and trying to get the strikes over the plate early, try to force some swings. Now, the only one that didn't get there last night was Bryce Elder, 16 first strikes on 25 batters faced. Most of those came later in the game, starting to get tired. That's probably why he got moved on in the 6th inning. But hey, you get tired after, how many pitches did he have last night? Only 90, so not too heavy. You know, and that's what you're seeing nowadays. You're seeing about 90 to 95, and they're coming to get you.
Yeah, because most guys are only going about 5 innings anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's... You'll get through the lineup twice, basically, and that'd be 6 innings. You know, that's when you will see everybody twice if you get 3 outs, 3 outs, 3 outs, 3 outs. So I'm not shocked by it. But Elder getting better as the season's going on. I know the Braves need him to be pitching pretty well because, you know, Strider being out, it's one of those things. I've been saying it for a while now. You can't have 5 starting pitchers in baseball anymore. You've got to have at least 8. Now, you can't have 5 in the big leagues, but you can have 3 guys that are big league ready to go down in AAA. Yeah, it's going to cost you some money to have those guys down there. But when it comes to what's happening right now, you'll really want it. Look at the Dodgers right now. Glasnow just got put on the IL to join Snell. So, and what do the Dodgers got? Still plenty of arms left to go.
Yep.
So that's just the way the game is going. So load up. If you're listening to me, GMs, load up on those arms.
We can make all sorts of money if we just had more GMs listen to the show. You know, they give us a little finder's fee, a little little consultation fee. You know,
they can give us a little. You know, we can consult, and they can give us just. You know, we'll charge a good. You know, like $20,000 an hour rate. You know, that's fair. You know, for what those teams make,
you know,
nothing fair.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm not lazy. I'm willing to work for it.
Last week, so we'll go over what's been happening the last 7 days for the Braves. Like I said, Nick Allen is absolutely hot right now. Over the last week, he has a .412 average, and he is getting on base at the tune of a 500 mark. So that is telling you that he's probably getting on at least twice every single game if he's coming up 3 times, batting 9th in the order. Who else we got playing really well? Alex Verdugo last week had a .391. Eli White and Sean Murphy leading the way for the Braves with 2 home runs each last week. And Harrison Albies leading the way in steals for last week. 2 steals apiece. My pitcher of the week last week, I'm going to give it to Chris Sale. Had 1 game in which he appeared in, 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 4 Ks. And in Braves news, Ian Anderson, yes, the Ian Anderson that the Braves got off of the waiver wire 2 days ago, has been designated for assignment. He did not make an appearance with the Braves after he was pulled off the waiver wire 2 days ago. The Braves have recalled A.J. Smith-Shawver from Gwinnett. On the season for the Stripers, Shawver is 0 for 1 with a .482 ERA in 2 games, has 13 Ks, 4 walks. So again, we were talking about it. You need more arms. Braves are showing us right now, bringing up A.J. Smith-Shawver. Although I was kind of surprised he wasn't on the opening day roster and hasn't pitched for the Braves yet, being a nice young guy that's been out there pitching fairly well. But they had enough arms already to start the season. I just kind of think they wanted to see where that's going.
Smith-Shawver's already pitched for him.
Did he pitch this year? I don't think he pitched this year.
Yeah, and he's coming back now, and they're starting him tonight again, too.
Yeah, he's starting tonight.
Yeah, but he's already had, I believe, some work. I want to say 1 or 2 starts already.
Okay, yeah, it could possibly 1. I don't think he's had enough. We've had enough games now. You could be to the point where you could have had 3 starts.
Let's see what it says. He's got...
Rick's
one
thinking,
of this.
thinking.
Well, no, I'm like looking here. He's got 13.2 innings pitched already.
Okay. So he's been in, that's probably...
So 0-2 is his record, so at least 2 games.
Yeah.
Minimum. I mean, like, unless you had a third game where you got no decision.
Yeah, I came in for a very short time because 2 games at 13, if he's starting, that's pretty average.
Yeah.
That's saying a 5 and a 7. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, probably 2, maybe 3 if they were only running him out there for like 1 time through the lineup. But usually a starting pitcher like that, you're going to at least try to get him through 2 times so you don't burn out that bullpen.
Well, yeah, you need to. You need to get him at least, this week now, just having guys only go to the 5th inning. It used to be guys pitching complete games all the time, or damn near close to it, get to the 8th inning and then have the closer come in. Now, if you get 5, 6, if you get 6 out of a guy, it's like, wow, man, you got 6 innings out of him tonight. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, that's. Like I said, that's pretty deep. So
yeah, you will not see. That's one of those every time like somebody brings up records that will not be broken. Yeah, Johnson's record of complete games, and he's at 500 and something. That's never going to be beat because if you look at it now, the closest guy to him is going to be Justin Verlander, who's 40-something years old, and he only has like 20-something complete games.
It's like akin to load management in basketball, except like in the baseball world, you can definitely see the detriment to throwing on an arm. You know what I'm saying? And saving innings on an arm, both for like a season and for a career. Not to the tune like how it is in basketball, though. But it's kind of funny how, they're very similar, but, the baseball side doesn't get nowhere near the kind of grief that the NBA side does.
Yeah, and for the pitchers, I think we're also going to see, because we're seeing so many bullpen games, we're seeing so many alternate starters right now. My question is why aren't teams just going to 6-man rotations? Why just everybody knows, okay, we mostly play 6 games a week, all starting pitchers, you're going to get 1 game that you start every week. I think that would help on arms because, we've gone from having 3 starters, if you want to go back to the dead ball era, you only had 3 guys in the rotation. Then for the longest time we had 4, and then the 70s and 80s came around and we got 5. Is it time now that people start throwing 6? I've seen a couple teams like the Reds have been running some 6-guy rotations.
Do you think they got to add more roster spots?
No, it's just they're just going to take it away from one of your relievers. I think that's what they do.
Is it just they're having trouble finding like enough quality pitchers? You know what I'm saying? Maybe not every team has the depth at the pitching position. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't have 6 guys worth starting, do you want to start 6 guys?
I think it's more of it's an old school, baseball's a very old school mentality with a lot of managers. There's not all managers, but a lot of managers have that. And it's just been, I've been running 5 my whole life, so we're running 5.
It's just the way we've always done it.
Yeah, it's just the way we've always done it.
Analytics has been such a huge thing in this game, too. It's changed a lot of stuff, too. So the analytics say to do this. I guarantee you a lot of teams are going to jump on board because the numbers and analytics tell them to do it.
But we don't have a whole lot of numbers on teams running 6 guys. That's the thing. Yeah. There's no numbers out there that we can go up to the manager like, look, Bob, when we're throwing 6 guys out there, ERA's dropping by 30 points on everybody.
Or even if they do it like a minor league and they pull some numbers from there, you know what I mean? There's got to be numbers some places that they can get from,
minor league's not a good place to go get numbers because it's so controlled now. Like, they're not out there to play to win in a minor league baseball game. They're out there nowadays to teach, to learn, to see what guys got. Because when I was working in minor league baseball, they would literally, there was a phone in Tampa that could call our dugout to the manager and be like, hey, this guy that's throwing, I want his next pitch to be a slider. I don't care what the situation is. I want to see him throw a slider. Hang up. So it's
wow.
I don't think looking at minor league stats, and all major league guys will look at it and they'll say basically the same thing, that you can't really look at it because they're not out there to win. And I think that is kind of a flaw in the minor league baseball system because sometimes you've got to teach people how to win. You do. It's something you can learn. And with minor league baseball, the only time you will ever see that is if a team makes the postseason and if that major league club to that minor league team says, hey, just go out there and win. Because that's the only time you'll see that. Because even there's sometimes where major league teams, even in such stress situations like the postseason, they'll be in total control. Okay, this guy throws nothing but fastballs to this batter. And so I don't know if you can really look at those numbers.
Mm-hmm. So they're basically almost like glorified practices that you're watching to an extent because
a lot of it is nowadays.
That's
yeah.
Wow, we never had no idea.
Well, you got to figure, too, like a lot of those players, like the majority of them are probably never going to see the Major League Baseball. They're never going to go to the show. So they're almost there just placeholding, just having a place so that the handful of guys that can maybe make it have other people to play against. Because if you didn't have them, you wouldn't be able to field teams, I guess. You know what I mean?
Cannon fodder for the little bit of
kind of, sort of. I think just for the handful of guys that actually have the talent that could actually make it, you have to have like Manfred, like ghost players, like extra innings out there that are just like filling places, just that you have enough people out there to play the game.
Yeah, and Major League Baseball a couple years ago did have a downsize where they did get rid of a few teams out there. They were overdone there for a little bit. They expanded, and I hate to say it, they did expand minor league baseball too far, had too many teams, had too many leagues. So
every sport has that right now, I think, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I love sports. But, I mean, like, not a lot of it. Some of it's watered down, though. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Like, every league, you could probably knock at least, like, 2 to 4 teams away for teams that just aren't selling tickets, don't have butts and seats for whatever reason. The ownership won't buy a stadium, and they're, like, in some rickety, rundown building for whatever reason. But, yeah, you could probably get rid of, like, a handful of teams, 2 to 4, I think, per league, and the talent level would raise, man. Wouldn't it be so watered down? You'd like knock down those like fringe type players that are in the league anyway. They probably shouldn't be there to begin with. Those players would be gone. So then I think you'd see a lot more like better competition.
I would love the idea of like what they do in soccer in Europe, relegation.
Yeah,
play better or don't get the national attention.
That's it.
You will never see that. In North American sports, because, well, if you also look at it, most of the North American sports, the owners of the major league team own a lot of the minor league teams as well.
It also avoids tanking when you do that, too.
Yeah, it does help with tanking. And to tell me that, if we have a lottery, less teams will tank. That is the worst argument I have ever heard in my life.
I think you give more teams more opportunity.
Exactly.
You could be not at the very bottom and still get the opportunity to get the first overall pick.
Especially when it's like, okay, only the bottom 10 teams can be a part of the draft lottery. So now you're saying, hey, 10 teams, all 10 of you now have a chance. That's all you're doing there.
Well, it's like the basketball play-in tournament we just had. We were talking about the playoffs a little while ago, and you see a team like Miami get in that are just getting throttled right now, right?
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't be in there. They won the play-in tournament, and that's how they got the right to be there, right?
Yeah, they won. They won one game.
They won one game. That's my whole point. And then so they won the right to get their teeth kicked in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't have been there to begin with, probably. You know what I mean? If they, I don't know where they were in the seeding, if they were on the outs like 9 or 10 and they got in that way.
They were in the 7-8 game with Orlando and lost to Orlando, so Orlando got the 7, and then whoever was behind them, I want to say Atlanta, lost to the Heat.
Okay, well,
and then the Heat got in at 8.
If they got in, if you were like top 8, then I guess maybe you shouldn't have gotten in, but like if you didn't, and that's the reason why you got in, because you won the one game. And
that's one of those I don't understand. The other one I don't understand from the NBA is the not play-in tournament, but the early season thing.
The in-season tournament that
I just don't understand that.
It's just a money grab and stuff, get some attention. I mean, the All-Star Weekend kind of sucks for the NBA anyways. At least it's something else that they can do where they'll actually maybe compete, because that All-Star game is just offense showcase. There's no defense being played.
I mean, the last one where it was first team to 40 wins. No. If I'm going to watch a game, I don't want to watch the actual game being played out in front of me the way it was intended to be played.
Not trying to keep with some arbitrary rules they made up on the spot to try to make it seem like.
More people will watch if we just go to 40. It's like, so we're just playing one quarter of basketball?
Yeah, right.
More people will watch if you play for real.
Yeah, exactly. If you got guys out there that are actually playing hard, and playing the game that we all watch and know because we watch it every night.
Right. Well, there's no rivalries anymore. Everybody loves each other. Everybody wants to hug. Everybody wants to dap up, out there on the court or on the field or on the ice or whatever, instead of like one blood, And
that's probably because we just got guys changing teams so often now. Yeah. Way more than we used to see. NBA especially.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, guys, we will take a break. When we get back, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on, and we will discuss Shedeur Sanders. You are listening to ESPN Northwest Florida.
Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing. Straightaway center, a homer for Riley.
Sales, strike. Ryder, Acuna, Ozzie, Riley, Profar, and Coach Snitker lead a stellar lineup. Listen live nights and weekends on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny the rest of the day with a wind coming out of the south around 13 miles per hour and 82. Tonight, look for a light breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 71. Tomorrow, a high around 79 and some sun. Thursday, very warm with a high of 81 and some sun. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia. The road is yours. Let spring adventures begin in a brand new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Stop by today and check out the 2025 SUV family. Take a test drive and see the all-new features that elevate any adventure. And now offering 1.9% APR for up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust at Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage, $1,748 per month per 1,000 financed in 60 months. Quantities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. Not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 4/30/25.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios.
But to beat a man, you gotta beat the man.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs on the Sports Talk Monster.
You're gonna be mine. Woo!
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Is the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe, and on our app that you can download from the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. And you can also visit our website, espnpc.com. James Fife, Captain's Chair. Tyler Bishop with us. And behind the glass, Caveman Rick. We are the Afternoon Underdogs live from the CBC Construction Studios. And if you are looking for a great job right now, if you are looking to build your career, I like what I did there, give them a call or just visit their website and you can fill out the application right there. And if you want to get a hold of us, make sure to call us, text us 850-215-6290 on the Jed Lawyers phone and text line. Bone Crusher out there on Facebook telling us that the Braves are heating up, and Bone Crusher, we all agree, Braves getting back into the winning ways. It makes my job so much nicer, so much easier when they get on those win streaks. So I said, before we went to break, we'll put a tinfoil hat on me, and we will discuss Shedeur Sanders and the conspiracy that I have for Mr. Sanders. So we were all shocked.
Oh, yeah. Mel Kiper was melting down.
Shocked. Mel Kiper yelling from the mountains about how everybody in the NFL was wrong. Everybody in the NFL is wrong. Every general manager, every coach, they're all wrong because Mel Kiper, who's never been a coach or a GM to my knowledge, knows more about football than those guys do. Well, I can't say I know more about football than Mel Kiper. I can't say that I know more about football than any of the GMs or coaches that are out there in the NFL. I probably don't. I might know more than some of them, but I highly doubt it since they're that high up. But what I do know is I know great conspiracies when I make them up in my head. So what was happening to Shedeur Sanders? So he was falling down, falling.
Free
falling. First round, no. Second and third round, second day, no. Third day, fourth round, Fifth round?
Yeah, halfway through the fifth?
Yeah, somewhere halfway. I'm going to say it was the 16th pick.
Something like that.
So that would have been exactly halfway for the Browns. And it was the Browns' final pick of the draft. Browns did not have any more picks after that pick, so that was the final hurrah for the Browns. of the 2025 draft.
Browns, Mr. Irrelevant.
That was the Browns, Mr. Irrelevant. Thank you, Rick. I like that one. So the Mr. Irrelevant for the Browns, was he done a favor by being drafted for the Browns? What do you guys think?
I think it depends on how you look at it. Like, which way you want to do is as a favor. Like, yeah, it's a favor if now, like, he's got a built-in excuse, and now if, like, you don't want to have any expectations because it's the Browns, right? Like, their rich history of drafting quarterbacks since 1999. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, leave Tim Couch out of this, all right?
So, like, if he goes there and he fails and he falls on his face, you can always use the excuse, well, it's the Browns that drafted him, right? So, like, he's got a built-in, like, excuse, a way to get out of it. Now, if he goes out there, though, now and he balls out because, he wants to show everybody that, didn't draft him for 5 previous rounds, that, hey, you messed up by not picking me. I mean, he can go out there and he can walk on water in Cleveland over there on one of the Great Lakes, if he ends up winning, and doing something over there. Chances of that happen are probably slim to none, because this is the Browns we're talking about. But, I mean, motivation has helped a lot of players before in the past, so there is something to be said there. I mean, my take on it is, like, yeah, he got himself done a favor by being drafted by the Browns, because now if nothing good happens out of this and he ends up being a bust, it's going to be pretty much blamed on pretty much who picked him and where he went.
Tyler, you got anything?
I think it was a little bit. It's a winnable quarterback job, right? I mean, Watson's probably not playing this year. Joe Flacco's probably the favorite to win the job. I mean, Kenny Pickett, nobody cares about Kenny Pickett.
They're
and then
not
Dylan
picking up
Gabriel.
his option.
And I can't believe Dylan Gabriel got drafted, much less drafted in the 3rd round. That's a whole different conversation. But, I mean, if Joe Flacco's not the starter, then why they even bother bringing him back? So it's favorable in the sense that, A, we got to stop hearing about it, because at a certain point, it's like, it was kind of funny, but it was taken away from every other player getting drafted in the 2nd day, 3rd day, because it was all about, oh, this guy win, that's great, but why isn't Shedeur going? Like, even during when he got picked, we didn't hear about the next 6 guys that got drafted because they were so busy talking about the guys. So it was nice we stopped hearing about it. And it is a winnable job. It's a quarterback. I mean, it's a decent offense for a quarterback that can play in structure. We didn't see that from Deshaun Watson, but we've seen it with Joe Flacco. So, I mean, Joe Flacco, while he's got an elite arm, is on the wrong side of 35 and has played well in that system. So there is opportunity for him. The weapons aren't the best. They did get Quinshon Judkins in the 2nd round to be that running back, hopefully taking the load off. Nick Chubb looks like he's not coming back to Cleveland. So it was favorable in that sense, but kind of to Rick's point, the Browns have been terrible when it comes to drafting quarterbacks. Even the ones they drafted have been good, like Baker Mayfield, have been successful elsewhere. And like I said, now we didn't have to hear about it for the last round and a half, which was also nice.
So here's my take, my great conspiracy on this. The Browns didn't do Shedeur Sanders a favor. In fact, what the Browns did was they trolled Dion and Shedeur Sanders by taking him in the 5th round, because nobody had taken him yet. Plenty of teams that even worked him out a couple of times, like the Giants, or even teams that love Dion, like the Cowboys. Many opportunities to draft him before the Browns. Nobody took him. So what was happening? I'll tell you what was happening. Shedeur botched all the interviews because he knew he wasn't going to get drafted in the top 5. And he wanted to be drafted in the top 5 because that's where the money is, that's where the honor is, that's where all the glory is. So he couldn't be drafted in the top 5. So if you get drafted later, that amount of money you get goes down and down and down and down and down, to the point where in the 7th round, you're making minimum wage. Be happy you are. So what Dion was doing, what Shedeur was doing, they were blowing all of those interviews, trying to not look good, trying to fall off the face of the earth. Because what happens when you don't get drafted?
Now you're a free agent.
Exactly. What can you do when you're a free agent?
Sign wherever you want.
You can sign where you want. You can negotiate your contract and how much you get paid. So you don't have to deal with what the NFL says you're going to get paid in the 6th round. You don't have to deal with what the NFL says you're going to get paid in the 5th round. So I'm saying maybe there was a little bit backdoor conversation between old Jerry and old Dion saying, hey, let him go. Let him fall out. We'll negotiate a contract with you, Jerry. He'll be a Cowboy.
Man, Shedeur to Detroit, that would have been something. Like, that would have been, yeah, that would have been cool to watch. Like, it would have been kind of fun because, I mean, you got Dak Prescott making $60 million a year, whatever it is, 45, whatever it is now. not having some of the best postseasons, you know what I'm saying? Like, good regular season, been injured a little bit lately. Maybe Shedeur comes in. Maybe he starts, the son Jerry has but never had, type deal. But, Shedeur to Detroit would have been great.
Oh, I would have loved it. Would have loved it. But no, I was wrong. He did get drafted. My conspiracy theory of he's trying to choke out and get his way into a, unrestricted free agent contract, swing and a miss by me.
Yeah, and I hate to say that I feel bad for Shedeur because I think he's brought part of his public perception on himself. And, he can't control who his dad is. He can control his own actions. But, they talked about it all night draft night. Why hasn't he gone yet? They talked about it all day leading up to the second day, all day during the second day. It was, probably 40-ish hours of people just asking, what's wrong with this kid and why hasn't gotten drafted? And at a certain point, this is a kid, trying to make his childhood dream come true, and he's just having the whole country kind of... you had a lot of people who were rooting against him. Don't like him, don't like his dad, whatever. But that's got to be tough on anybody.
They were showing his empty seat, man.
Yeah,
when they kept trying to cut there where he was supposed to be sitting.
But the guy built his own draft room. That's a little pretentious. But like I said, he brings some of this on himself. Yeah. So he's not he's not an innocent bystander. But man, you're having your heart ripped out in front of you on national TV for 40 hours, and you just got to be constantly reminded by everybody. And then the whole prank phone call thing. That was Well, what gets me about that's not the first time that's happened. It happened. I feel like it happens almost every year now during the draft. Somebody gets called. Somebody's playing a prank on him. It happened with Mohamed Sanu a few years back. It happened. It's happened with other players, but it
happened to more players in this draft other than Shedeur. There's at least 2 other instances.
Yeah, but is anybody else talking about those?
They're not as high profile as Shedeur getting trolled and getting pranked like that, though. That's like him getting swatted, So that's awesome though, because on top of all that, then that happens too, and it might be piling on, but to people like that, the kid's gotten so many more roses and flowers thrown at him, so many accolades and all that just because of who he is. So, something like this happens, I'm not feeling sorry for him. Yeah. He's had a pretty good life, you know what I mean? Stuff like this is going to bound. It's going to happen when you're out in the media and you got your name out there that much, the way he is and the way his dad is and how, flamboyant and over the top. It just comes with the territory.
And Shedeur, I thought, handled it very well. He didn't come out yelling and screaming at the kid. He didn't come out making threats. He was just kids are going to be kids. And for what he did through interviews, being unmature, that was a fairly mature response to being pranked.
Yeah, but he could have been doing that being unmature as it was an act. Coming in with his headphones hanging down, blaring music, and just talking himself up. It could have all just been a ploy to, have everybody hate him. So like you said, so he wouldn't get drafted and so he become a free agent.
Free agent.
That was his idea. Or that was his school of thought going into the draft.
Yeah, because, if you're a free agent, then you get to sign where you want. So that after I saw, and he kept falling, I'm like, he's going to hit free agency. And he's going to go where he wants to go. Oh, man, he's going to actually kind of win this thing in a weird way.
Yeah, I'm glad that it didn't go that route.
Yeah, I'm not shocked he got drafted. I'm really not. I figured he would be drafted. He was good enough to, at some point, for somebody to take a waiver on him. Because, really, after you get into the 5th, 6th, 7th round, aren't you kind of just throwing darts at a board and just filling holes in a roster and just hoping it works?
You're buying scratch-off tickets, essentially, is what you're doing. The player equivalent of that. And, let's be honest, if the NFL thought Shedeur was going to be a franchise quarterback, somebody would have drafted him, regardless of everything. Somebody would have drafted him in the top 2 or 3 rounds if they thought he had that potential. We've seen, Michael Vick went to prison, came out, and got a job right away because people thought he still had that talent. The character has never really been a huge issue for the NFL if you're talented enough. They proved that time and time again. And I think at the end of the day, we were led, as the general public was led to believe, Shedeur was a top 3 type pick in this draft. He's a legit franchise guy by different media outlets. Why they had that outlet, maybe it was some echo chamber, maybe it was whatever. But the truth is, nobody in the NFL obviously felt that way. Because even if you're the Chiefs and you're in the 3rd round, you can pick a legit franchise quarterback and use him as trade bait or whatever else. You would do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if you're the Bills with Josh Allen, the Ravens with Lamar Jackson. At a certain point, if a guy is that good, you're going to take him just so nobody else has him, and nobody did that.
No.
So the truth is, he just wasn't the quarterback a lot of people thought he was, and that's okay. No, not a lot of people are, but everybody trying to make it a bigger, it was this, that, and whatever. I honestly just think he's not that good.
Yeah, he had a good season with Colorado, but it's who did Colorado play?
Maybe he should have stayed in school a little bit longer.
Yeah. Did he have eligibility?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, he had the NIL money at that point. Could have been something. Maybe he knew with Travis Hunter leaving. I mean, he wasn't going to leave his dad, so he was going to stay in Colorado. Travis Hunter leaving, Jimmy Horn Jr. leaving. Like, they were losing the little bit of talent Colorado had. They were losing a lot of it.
Look bad after that.
And, like, I mean, like, his first highlight after being drafted was like a 3-yard pass to Travis Hunter that Travis Hunter took 30 yards to the house. Like, how is that a Shedeur Sanders highlight? Like, I could have probably made that throw.
He got the ball, man.
I mean, you got the best player on the field, the ball, and congratulations. But it wasn't a great throw. And not to say he doesn't have highlights, but at the end of the day, he's probably just limited physically, and it just wasn't the quarterback that a lot of people wanted him to be.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people he was running around for his life out there. It's like, usually if he's going to get on a team now, I mean, are the Browns exactly the best, offensive line out there? No, so at least he's got some practice running around trying to survive. That's probably the best thing he's got going for him right now.
And now it's even funnier that the Browns traded away the pick to get Travis Hunter, because now they ended up with Shedeur, and I think everybody kind of wanted to see that reunion in the NFL, thinking, the Browns may have drafted him at the top of the second round, trade back in the first round to draft Shedeur after drafting Hunter. So they traded that away, waited 5 rounds, and they still picked up Shedeur. And it was just, the Browns had it's funny, I saw a tweet, like, if you rearrange the Browns draft where they drafted Mason Graham in the first round, then Shedeur in the second round, and all this other stuff, like, their draft looks so much better than what people are giving them credit for. And again, if you believe Mel Kiper, who has for the last 50 years evaluated quarterbacks better than the NFL, I'm still waiting on Jimmy Clausen to pan out. But nobody bats 1,000. But
all right, guys, first hour is over. Second hour coming up next. This is the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN, Northwest Florida, 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe, James 5, Tyler Bishop, Caveman Rick. We will be right back after this.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
If you play football long enough, you are going to get hurt.
He has pardoned Jelly Roll for a home invasion robbery, I think 2002.
Decision has been finalized.
It has been made, and I want to tell you something. We've got a great history in Tennessee about pardons and parole. Governor Blanton used to sell them.
Weekday morning 7 to 9, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny the rest of the day with a wind coming out of the south around 13 miles per hour and 82. Tonight, look for a light breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 71. Tomorrow, a high around 79 and some sun. Thursday, very warm with a high of 81 and some sun. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios for the A.
Deep right center field, and is gone!
Your spot for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. Listen live nights and weekends. This is Braves Country. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hour number 2, Afternoon Underdogs from the CBC Construction Studios. And if you are looking for a new job, or if you are just looking for a job, give CBC a contact. They are hiring right now for their building operations. So if you are looking to improve what you're doing, give them a call. You can also give us a call here at the studio, 850-215-6290. This is sponsored by the Jed Lawyers phone and text line. I am James Fife. We are here with Tyler Bishop and Caveman Rick. It is 5 o'clock, so we get to our connoisseur of college football, Mr. Tyler Bishop. Tyler, how goes it?
It goes well. Obviously, NFL draft is one of the best times of the year for me as a college football guy. I do love the NFL, but college is a little bit more passionate for me. So kind of seeing that combination where college football, NFL intersect, you get to see some guys and I follow the recruiting stuff probably more than I should. So seeing like these guys, like, okay, they were a big time recruit coming out of high school, like Travis Hunter, for example, consensus 5-star guy, #1 player in the country, and then he goes #2 in the draft. Like kind of watching his career progress, seeing that with all these guys is always kind of cool to watch. And obviously the draft had its bit of excitement. The Giants or the Browns trading at a spot too. We had a few other moves there in the top half of the first round. And I felt kind of looking back on all the drafts, like, it felt like the lower level schools weren't as represented as they used to be. And I think that's partially with the portal and NIL. You're kind of seeing those players move up for their junior year, senior year, even sophomore year, and kind of proving it with the big boys. So like a guy that may have been drafted out of Louisiana Tech last year got drafted out of LSU this year, or so on and so forth. And I don't have the numbers in front of me. I meant to look it up before I came on the show today, but it just feels like,
for you if you want to know.
I see the number. I just don't know how that compares to the last few years. Yeah. But it does seem like, you're kind of losing some of those diamond in the rough guys. And I know there's plenty of teams out there that may have drafted a Utah State guy, but I just felt like you would have some of these teams that drafted 4 or 5 guys from the G5 level of college football. And I just don't think you saw that this year. I think you saw most teams having one of those guys tops. And I think that we just see kind of that cream rising to the top, going to that final level and trying to boost their stock for the draft, kind of their junior, senior year, going to those bigger colleges. But obviously the SEC did what they did, put out the most players, I think, for the 25th straight year, something crazy like that. My Dogs put out 13 of them, which was pretty good. Ohio State had 14, #1 in the country. It's kind of a trend we're seeing. The national champion, the very next draft, is putting out the most players in the draft. Georgia didn't. I believe Bama did in 2020. Georgia did in 21. I believe they did in 22 again. If not, they were close. Michigan did it or was close to it in 23. Ohio State this year was in 24. I think we're just kind of seeing like whatever team wins the national championship.
It happens in the pros.
They're probably putting out the most amount of NFL picks the next year. That's probably a safe bet.
Think that's championship bias?
There probably is a little bit of that. You see these guys win, you assume that's going to, and part of it, I think it's always kind of been a tough evaluation. Like when you're around other elite players, that makes everybody look better, right? Because you can't focus on one guy. That's what they talk about, right? You want multiple pass rushers, so you can't double team this guy or double team that guy. But I think it does lead for some guys to get pushed up the draft board because they may look better than they actually are because they're playing with better players. So they're not having the attention. They're able to kind of take advantage of attention going to other guys. Like when Georgia guys were playing next to Jalen Carter, they looked a lot better because Jalen Carter is an animal. Jalen Carter would look good next to anybody, but players look better next to Jalen Carter. We've seen it for years with Bama when Saban was putting out those guys. And again, Ohio State, they had a lot of great players. 2 running backs go. Their quarterback went late. But the interesting thing about Ohio State is they didn't have a guy go until, I think, the 19th pick. I think the wide receiver to Tampa was their first pick in the draft, which is a little rare for a national championship caliber team. You typically see a little bit more of the higher end talent. But some of it is championship bias. That's why you've seen Bama put out a ton of picks, and granted, they've deserved it. But you saw it with Clemson for a while, too, when they were competing for the titles. I think part of it is a culture. Part of it is kind of what you talked about in baseball. Like, winning is a skill. And the guys who won a championship probably have that to an extent. So that probably doesn't hurt their cases either.
Agree. Yeah. I would say, too, in the pros, it happens all the time. Your team wins a championship. My Eagles just won, right? The Super Bowl. Couldn't keep a lot of those guys on the defense, right? Had a really good defense. Can't re-sign everybody because everybody wants a pay raise now. Not to mention, Tyler and you guys were saying, everybody's looking at these dudes, right? They won. They know how to win. They come from a great team. What you said probably makes them look a little bit better, too, being around a wealth of talent. But it's like, hey, I want some of that, And where can I get it from? Team that just won, right? So, and you're if you make a move to get a guy off a team that just won, versus somebody who hasn't won or off like a franchise that like loses like every year, you're probably going to feel better about the guy that won. You know what I'm saying? Unless like the numbers and stats or whatever just blow the other guy out the water, you're probably going to be more comfortable going with the winner. So I just think that just lends itself to the reason why a lot of those, championship teams, whether it be college, pros, or whatever, have a hard time holding it all together, keeping the band together after they win,
Oh, especially, it was easier once upon a time in college.
Oh, it was very simple in college once upon a time.
But you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, when they can jump ship anytime they want to now, I mean, it's way too
crazy.
easy for them.
Just keeping up, for me, it's just getting hard to keep up with some college sports.
And I mean, they have to be juniors before they can leave. So like Tyler was saying, they're already in playing ball for a few years. So by the time they get to the year where they can actually get out, the other coaches, the other, schools out there probably have a good idea who's really got talent, who's probably going to be something. So by the time you get to that third year, that's probably by the time you're going to get poached by one of these bigger, schools, power schools like Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson just recently, stuff like that, Michigan, and what have you. And then that's why they're going to go to those schools and unfortunately get drafted by those schools or into the pros from those schools instead of, like you said, like a Utah State or like a Fresno State or just some smaller fringe school that you don't typically see dudes come out of that make the waves in the NFL. That's probably going to not happen.
And I mean, all of these guys are now on film. I mean, you can go down to even every single one AA game now basically is on television somewhere, if not on television, at least on a streaming service. I mean, you can even find like your higher end D3 teams.
Yeah.
You can stream them on. So, I mean, basically every college player from at least Division II on up has every single game they have played in college on tape for everybody to look at. You didn't have that 10 years ago. Because 10 years ago, streaming services just kind of getting kicked off 10, 15 years ago. Right. So what were you limited to then? You were limited to literally
unless you had
what
your
was on
videographer.
Yeah.
If you were fortunate enough to like go, have a rich enough, I guess, family, to be able to pay for something like that, or somebody that could just like, cut tape, a lot of VHS to look at and cut a tape for you.
Yeah, that's work. Yeah. That's somebody you're paying a lot of work to. Because that's different than, because you're still going to cut the tapes from games that you're getting like off of a stream somewhere, but you don't got to send actually somebody physically with the camera with a plane ticket to rent a car to get to a stadium somewhere. So, yeah, it's streamlined the process basically there. All right, Tyler, so we're through with the draft. Draft is over. Now, we always like to talk about what NFL team won or lost the draft. I'm going to flip this a little bit. What college team won the draft?
Ooh, I kind of like that. I mean, if you're talking what college team won the draft, it's obviously the big names. I mean, if you're Ohio State, if you're Georgia, the results kind of speak for themselves, right? Hey, we had 13 of our 85 guys drafted. That's off the entire roster. So we're probably talking 2/3 of that, or 1/3 of that was probably draft eligible. So you're talking rough number, 28 guys.
Yep.
So like almost half of the guys who were eligible to draft got drafted. That's a great recruiting pitch, whether you're talking to guys in the portal, whether you're talking to kids out of high school. Like, hey, if you come here, like Georgia's put out probably close to 50 picks in the last 4 drafts combined. Like, if you come to Georgia and you stay, you're going to get drafted. Oh, Bama did it forever. I mean, Nick Saban had 56, I think, first-round picks or something like that over his head coaching career. At a certain point, like every class that signed with Nick Saban at Alabama, like won a national championship, and they were just putting out ridiculous amounts of talent to the NFL, guys getting drafted in the first round. So I think those schools are obviously kind of speak for itself. I think Miami obviously took advantage of Cam Ward being there, one and done, but he got him number 1 overall pick. They actually led the ACC with 7 picks, so that's another, because Mario Cristobal's been a questionable head coach, made some very questionable decision-making, has cost his team some games, but at least he can be like, hey, come to Miami, you're going to get drafted. And at a certain point, if you stockpile enough talent, even if you're an average coach, Miami knows this firsthand. You can win a national championship. I mean, we saw Larry Coker do it in 2001.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think anybody's going to sit here and pound the table as Larry Coker is an elite coach. So I think that was great for them. Deion in Colorado, they tied for the league with the Big 12, which is good. I mean, obviously Travis Hunter would have been drafted from Utah Valley Northwest just with his raw skill set. And even though Shedeur fell, he wasn't a high-profile guy coming out of high school. He was a guy who ended up at Jackson State. Probably wouldn't have gone to a much bigger school whether his dad was there or not. So, I mean, they did have some guys drafted again, proving that come here, you can get drafted. And that's a big thing for – there's nothing worse than going to a school and you see a guy like, oh, he was a projected – like kind of Carson Beck this year, came into the year at Georgia, projected number 1 overall pick. ended up transferring to Miami, didn't even enter the draft at all. You don't want those kind of stories as a head coach. Like when you're Kirby Smart, you've won some titles, you put first-round guys out, you can absorb some of those. But if you're a Cristobal who hasn't had that success, Dion, if that kind of thing happens to Dion, that hurts his credibility because he doesn't have necessarily the same level of benefit of the doubt that some of these other coaches. So not blowing the draft for a lot of these coaches was as big as winning it. But Ohio State, Georgia, the big schools putting out big talent is great for those schools because it just makes it, I mean, we've already known them as NFL pipelines, but when it's just year after year after year, Georgia's probably put out double-digit players every year since the COVID season. Ohio State has put, 10 first-round wide receivers in the last 6 or 7 years. I mean, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Ibuka this year to Tampa, Marvin Harrison Jr. last year. They're going to have Jeremiah Smith in 2 years. He's going to probably be competing for that number one overall pick. So when you start sending guys consistently, I like that. It makes it so much easier to sign the high school kids because it's proven in the pudding. Like, hey, you come here, play for 3 years, you're going in the first round, especially at wide receiver at Ohio State, especially on defense at Georgia. Way Kirby Smart's putting out defensive talent. Nick Saban did it for a long time. We're seeing it kind of at Michigan. They've had a lot of those like kind of trench guys between linemen, tight end, D linemen, linebackers for the last few years, kind of the end of the Jim Harbaugh era. It's hard to give Sherrone Moore too much credit. He's still kind of inheriting those guys. But if you're a Michigan fan, you want to see that tradition continue as well. Because once you get those pipelines going, it just makes selling it to the high school kids so much easier. And with the high school talent, now you're going to stay a top-tier college team.
Yep. So do we have any more portals to be looking forward to?
The current portal window, I believe, is closed, or the April portal window, I believe, is closed.
Do we have anything in the summer?
No, there's nothing in the summer. So once they're here for the April, they are done until next December.
Okay, so there's not going to be too much more movement in college football.
No, you may see a guy or two here and there that has not committed yet, and they just have to enter the portal in the window. They do not have to commit until whenever they want to. So a lot of people get that confused. Like, I thought they had to be, the portal window is this. That's just to enter the portal. It's not to exit the portal. So I don't think there's anybody out there really worthwhile because, at this point, if you enter the portal, you don't have a team yet. Why did you enter the portal?
Yeah. I'm sure there's some guys out there that enter the portal and end up going, I ain't got no job.
Yeah, there's thousands of kids every portal window they go in, and not all of them have spots. And right now, with the house settlement coming in, roster sizes are shrinking from 130 total players to 105. So that included walk-ons and scholarships. So you're talking 25 mostly walk-on kids that don't have a spot anymore. So now they got to go down to either, from Power 5 to Group of 5 or Group of 5 down to D2 or D3. And so, there's a bunch of kids getting pushed out right now. And it's terrible because, maybe these kids were never going pro, but D3 kids playing college football, they hold on to that for the rest of their life. Right? They get to put themselves through school. They get to brag about it. Yeah, I was a college football player. I was D3, but, hey, better than I ever did. But now, you're talking 133 FBS schools losing 25 players per roster. That's a ton of kids.
Yeah,
that's a ton of kids.
That's a lot of kids.
That now, it's going to trickle down and it's going to start affecting some of the lower tier colleges and then pushing out kids who are not going to get that shot at high school anymore. Part of it's the ramifications from NIL and the portal era and the House trying to clear up and regulate things, but it's costing people opportunity. And it's terrible to hear.
And it's some of the worst, I think, is some of these kids that came after COVID.
Yeah.
Where some of the kids that were in during COVID were getting 1 and 2 extra seasons. So those kids, and now, say you went in 2021, this is your 4th year.
Yeah.
You've only got, if you redshirted at some point, you've only got 1 year left. And now you could potentially just be gone from the whim of the United States Congress.
Yeah. And I think people are appreciating what they're trying to do as far as regulating NIL because they're doing a revenue share, and then there's going to be a separate company that is going to legitimize any NIL deal done externally from the college. I think everybody wants the regulation. Nobody wants all this pay for play, but it is coming with ramifications of hurting other athletes. And
we knew it was going to do something. We just didn't know what.
Yeah, and I think it's just, it sucks because my dogs have been very successful during this timeline, but as a whole for the sport, it has been a terrible 5 years with the rule changes that have come and gone. Kind of talked about it. I think maybe it was in between one of the segments we were joking about how every lawsuit that has gone against the NCAA has won because the NCAA has no teeth right now. They have no enforcement of really anything when it comes to college sports. All these student athletes are suing for extra eligibility, suing for all this stuff, and winning because the NCAA doesn't really have a leg to stand on. And it's just become kind of a joke of a system right now.
So with Nico and Madden heading out to UCLA, and with the University of Kentucky right now is setting up basically a business, an LLC, to do all these negotiations with the kids for their NIL deal. So with this going on, and most of the time the NIL deals that are being handed out are not for a set amount of time. They're only for that one season. Do we start seeing some of these NILs get smart and putting dates on these contracts saying 2 years, 3 years, 4 years?
You'd hope so. You really hope so. I think so. What it's going to go to now is there's going to be revenue issuing from the athletic departments. I believe up to $15 million. It's 21. I believe it's just under $21 million for the entire athletic department pool of athletes. I believe around $15 million of it can go to the football team specifically. And then outside of that, you start having the NIL deals. So I think they will start having some of those, but the true NIL deals aren't going to be the NIL deals we've been used to. So you won't necessarily need those. That would be more the revenue sharing contracts that the athletes will be signing with the athletic departments themselves. So I don't know if those are going to be done on a yearly basis. I would hope that there's some kind of, prorated and make them play all the games. If you're getting paid to play, you can't opt out anymore.
Yeah, you
at a certain point, you don't see opt-outs maybe occasionally here or there, but in NFL, it's not an opt-out because the game doesn't count because your team was eliminated from the playoffs. You don't see, if a guy's legitimately injured, we see them not, taking some precautions. But every player, you don't get to have 40 opt-outs in the NFL because you're out of the playoffs anymore.
Right.
They're getting paid now in college. They're professional athletes because that is the textbook definition, right? If you get paid to do something, you're professional.
Well, they're technically not getting paid to play football. They're getting paid.
They're both with revenue sharing. They will be getting paid to do football.
For the revenue sharing, yeah.
So once that comes through, put that in their contracts. You can't opt out of the bowl games. The conference the conference, which in turn the school makes money on these bowl games. When you're playing JV squads, nobody wants to watch that bowl game. So the bowl games losing revenue, conference losing revenue, schools losing revenue. Now there's less revenue to share. So now the players kind of have a vested interest in this. And I hope we see some of those things get cleared up with the revenue sharing. I don't know how much of that they can really bake into those contracts, but
I think you'll end up seeing people having phantom
all of a sudden, I pulled a hammy or I rolled my ankle in practice, coach. I can't
like that.
But if you have 40 rolled ankles, that's going to look bad.
Right.
I'm not saying like I said, that's what really gets me is when you have, Marshall, their entire team opted out of the bowl game. They didn't have enough players to field a team.
Oh, God, that was awful.
That's just terrible, especially for a program like Marshall. They
live off that money. Marshall,
they don't get to go to a bowl game every year.
Yeah, and Marshall's not like an NIL school that's got $1 billion givers.
They don't have that. And their conference, their school needs that money. Even when Florida State did a couple years back, nobody associated with that Florida State program had been to a bowl game as big as the Orange Bowl. Norvell had never coached in that game. Jared Verse had never played in a game that big. All those guys, they acted like they were too good for it. But y'all had never played in a boat. And I get they got screwed in their mind, all that stuff. But this is still the biggest game y'all have ever played in, arguably, besides maybe the ACC championship. But quit acting like you're too good for something you've never experienced
Marshall,
before.
man, you got to think about it, too. That's a school that lost their whole football team at one point in time.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, play.
Yeah,
you should be happy you're here, dudes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Marshall just talked about just not having a football program, literally after that accident. Their first thought was, let's just close it.
Yeah.
Let's just shut it down. Until, an outside coach came in and said, no, that's the worst thing you can do right now. Let me build it. And it was a good thing that they did. That would have been awful to lose that, just lose everything they had. They did lose everything they had, but luckily they didn't follow, the board of directors of the school. And luckily the students and, the other athletic department got together and was like, no, we are Marshall.
It's
we
hard
will
to
play
kill
football.
Look what happened with UAB.
Yeah.
They lost their team for a year. And then
2 years and then they came back.
So, yeah.
Yeah, obviously the Marshall thing led to underclassmen being able to play, freshmen specifically getting over to play sooner because Marshall had to. And, it probably changed the game. It would probably happen earlier, eventually at some point, but it changed that rule a little bit for teams going forward. So,
yeah, not a bad thing.
No.
Not a bad thing. All right, guys, into another break. When we get back, we will be making NFL predictions that are probably going to be horribly wrong once the season starts, but we're going to do it anyways. Give us a call if you got any NFL predictions, 850-215-6290. This is the Afternoon Underdogs from the CBC Construction Studios.
Your attention, please.
ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike three.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Tuesday evening. As we head into tonight, mostly clear skies and a low of 71 with a light breeze coming out of the southeast around 6 miles per hour. For tomorrow morning, some sun and a temp near 80. In the afternoon and evening, a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour, mostly sunny and a high around 80. For Thursday, some clouds and a high of 81. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Dreaming of your perfect Florida home? Whether you're buying or selling, I'm here to make it easy. I'm Terry Callahan with Anchor Realty Florida, and I've helped many folks from first-time home buyers to retirees find success in the Bay County real estate market. I'd love to find just the right home and neighborhood to match your family's needs. Let's make your dream home on the Florida Panhandle a reality. Call or text me, Terry Callahan, at 850-919-5025.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Chop on, Braves fans.
That is gone!
Since 2017, your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
You are tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida. This is the Afternoon Underdogs coming live to you from the CBC Construction Studios. And if you are looking for a new gig, they are hiring right now. Get out your phone, give them a visit at the CBC Construction website, fill out your app, get you a job. Call us, text us, 850-215-6290. Our call and text lines is sponsored by the Jed Lawyers. So anytime you need any legal advice, make sure to give them a visit. And this is the home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN 104.3. Next game coming to you tonight on the airwaves. We got pregame 6:25, first pitch 7:40. Braves taking on the lowly Rockies on this Tuesday evening. And be sure to tune in tomorrow morning to the ESPN Northwest Florida James Hale Show. Coach Hale will be on the air from 7 to 9. We will have the Afternoon Underdogs tomorrow, and we will also have the Inside Drive coming to you from 11 to 1 right here, 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe. So now we'll just roll on into a little bit of NFL talk. We'll look at some NFL predictions. Well, I'll just kind of go around the room, make a couple of predictions on what we think the season might look like next year for the NFL now that we have completed the draft. So, of course, everybody always wants to know who is going to win the Super Bowl next year. And you're going to hear it from me first right now at a plus 20,000. The worst in the league. The Tennessee Titans win the Super Bowl.
Hey, I mean, worst
right here, right now, you heard it. And I am totally wrong. I am not putting that $2 bet down because I just feel that that would be a loss of my $2 right there. So, but we will go around the room. We'll give out some guesses for the Super Bowl. And we'll even go over with what some of the Vegas insiders say for the Super Bowl. So, Rick, we'll start with you. Predictions for Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. I'm probably going to make the same prediction I made last year. My prediction last year was Ravens-Eagles. I was half right?
Halfway there.
The important half, too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, the important half, and I got that one right. And, so until, what does, Ric Flair say here on this network, on our airwaves? To be the man, you got to beat the man, right?
And I am the man.
The Eagles right now are the man. So the Eagles are going to be there again. And I'll go with the Ravens again this time. Why not? I mean, like, they came pretty close. I think Lamar's, he's an MVP type, candidate. And, they still got Derrick Henry over there. So, yeah, why not, man? Give me the Ravens and the Eagles.
Like it, Tyler?
I like it. I could go really chalk and say, like, Eagles-Bills or Eagles-Chiefs. Because it's hard for me to bet against the trio of Reed, Mahomes, and Spags. And obviously, I think the Eagles probably, I think I said it last year before the season, and I kind of feel the same way going this year. Like, from a 1 to 53-man roster, like, the Eagles roster is probably as good, if not better, than anybody in the NFL. But with the Eagles, you get replacing the offensive coordinator. Defensive coordinator is the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're replacing the offensive coordinator again. Can the Eagles, can Sirianni keep them hungry? We've seen that with teams. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So I'm gonna just do something different, just to be a little different. If I'm excluding those two teams, just to have some fun with it, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna take the Lions out of the NFC. I'm gonna say they finally get through that wall, even though they're replacing both their coordinators too. So now I'm kind of going against the same. Dang, we'll go Lions, and man, I'll go Ravens with you. I love what Todd Monken's doing up there in Baltimore. Again, it's hard for me to bet against both the Chiefs and the Eagles, but I don't want to be boring and just say, we're going to see a rematch in what would be 3 out of the last 5 at that point, Chiefs, Eagles. That'd be real easy to say, especially the Chiefs in there at 750. That's a very tempting line. I'll go Ravens, Lions, just to mix it up a little bit, be a little different. I'm going to be wrong because we're, 10 months out from the Super Bowl anyway. So, why not? We'll go Lions, Ravens.
For myself, I out of the NFC, I just don't see how you pick anybody but the Eagles.
Yeah.
I mean, Lions, maybe. They've done some improvements through the offseason, but losing both your coordinators when Dan Campbell isn't a coordinator guy himself, he's more of a motivator guy. I mean, he knows X's and O's, don't get me wrong. He's an
CEO
NFL
head coach.
Yeah, he is. He's very much of a motivator head coach. So that, I think, is a big knock on the Lions because we just don't know what the coordinators are going to be bringing, and we know Dan Campbell is not one of the coordinators, so there's that just high turnover rate right there. That makes me a little bit worried with them. I mean, other than that, for any other NFC team, Commanders?
I mean, I don't know. Can the Commanders do it again? There's one thing to be kind of sneak up on everybody, the new kids on the block. Now there's a whole year of film on Jaden Daniels. Do teams come up with better, you know what I'm saying, sophomore slump? Do teams come out with a better way to slow him down? Do they get quite as, I'm not saying they got lucky, but you know what I'm saying, I don't know if I can buy them 2 years, or I'd have to see it. I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but that's the problem is once you get past the Eagles, it kind of feels like the Celtics, right, in the East in the NBA. Like, they're the easy pick, but like, how do you pick against them type deal?
Yeah.
It's kind of, you're just kind of hoping
when
for
you go
something
them
different.
in the field, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what's in the field? I mean, the Niners have got their issues. The Rams have got issues. Green Bay.
Tampa, Atlanta, like all these teams. Like,
you can find faults in all of them, right?
Yeah. That's why it's just looking at the Eagles, they're just so solidly built right now. It's hard for me to pick another NFC team other than the Eagles. On the AFC side, I don't want to say Chiefs because I just don't believe. I think last year was a little bit of a fluke. Won way too many close games. How many 3-point or less games that they all won?
Haven't they won 13 in a row?
Like 13 straight.
Something like 13 straight one score games.
It was something crazy like that kind of numbers just can't keep rolling on forever because that's just not how you can build a dynasty by just squeaking by every time. Now, they already are a dynasty, but I'm not feeling it for next year. Love the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, dirty offense out there. Great offense. Defense, I think, got a little bit better over the offseason, but I don't think it improved enough because the Ravens, historically, great defensive team. Last year, not so much. They did make some moves at the linebacker spot. I don't know if it's enough. And the only other one that I kind of have any kind of feeling for is the Bills, but I see what the Bills do in the playoffs. So again, it's really hard for me to go out there and take the Bills. So if I'm going to have to guess and if I'm going to have to gamble, I'm going to have to go and agree with Rick. Ravens, Eagles, birds are flying into the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I will say at plus 750, Chiefs at tied for third. Like I said, it's hard to bet against that trio of at least making the Super Bowl, and then you make the Super Bowl, and then you're one stop from doing it. But Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, the Eagles at plus 6.5 isn't a terrible line. I mean, for as stacked of a roster I think they have, and as easy as the NFC, relatively speaking, looks to be, that's not a bad line either.
Nope. Let's move on to, we just got done with the draft, so we know our rookies for the season. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Anybody got any feelings?
I mean, mine's easy. I think Genty, man, going to the Raiders. I just think he's like, running backs come into the NFL. They adapt real easy. The transition's real easy for him to make. He's got a lot of power. He's got some strong legs. That offense should be conducive for him to be able to run. They still got Zamir White there. They got Brock Bowers. So as long as they can, scare some teams with moving the ball down the field a little bit, passing it, it should open up, the running lane. So I think Genty. I know he's the favorite, but
he is the favorite, plus 200 according to Las Vegas.
No, I mean, I think Genty is especially going to Pete Carroll, right? We saw what he did with Marshawn Lynch, like a guy that loves to run the ball. You got Chip Kelly come over there from Ohio State to be his offensive coordinator. I mean, they did add some nice pieces to that offense. Geno Smith at quarterback. It's hard to bet against Cam Ward just because he's a quarterback. I mean, I think we've seen some quarterbacks with some, I'm not going to say average stats, but not stellar stats win the award. And I think Genty would have to probably be like a top 5 running back to win the award, while Cam Ward could probably be like a 13-ish quarterback, you know what I'm saying, like a little bit above average. And and partially the Titans are coming from last. So if he takes them to 6 wins, that's triple what they had this year? Double. So like all of a sudden, like he's showing an instant impact. I don't know if they can do it. I mean, I know they added Tyler Boyd, a slot wide receiver. I know they've been doing other things. And then Hunter is going to get so much press and publicity. Like, if he has a pretty good year, which he's got a good quarterback there, he's got another great wide receiver on the other side of the ball. Brian Thomas Jr. had a great rookie season. Like, I would put money on Cam Ward today. And I think Genty's obviously the favorite for a reason. I just think he's going to have to be a top 5 NFL back to win it, which is why I don't love those odds at plus 200. Cam Ward would probably be my favorite. And then I think Hunter would be my number 2 just because I think there's so much hype around him already. And then if he gets, 6 touchdowns, and I mean, I know it shouldn't matter, but if he has a play or 2 on defense that really stick out on tape, like people are going to take that into account. Granted, it's offensive rookie of the year, but they're not going to be able to separate it. They're just going to look at Travis Hunter and what he's been able to do and what they hope he can do at this level. So I'm going to go Cam Ward be my number 1, and then I'd probably do Hunter number 2 over Genty.
I'll take Genty for right now as number 1, but I will put a stipulation in this because right now I feel good with Genty. Pete Carroll, old school guy, doesn't mind running the ball unless he's on the 1-yard line in the Super Bowl. Then he doesn't run the ball. Hopefully he has learned his lesson from that one. But, I mean, Genty, very similar to a Marshawn Lynch type runner. I can see him going all beast mode. I can see him just getting that shoulder down, just running through people. I also think it could be Cam Ward. But it will only be Cam Ward if he can get the Titans to 7 or more wins. But also, the quarterback is basically the only position in football where you can bring one guy in and have a giant swing of wins.
Yeah.
Because, you can bring in a wide receiver. He might win you 1 or 2 games. You can bring in a defensive back. He might win you 1 game. You can bring in a quarterback, though, and they can steal you 5, 6, 7 games throughout a year. So if Cam Ward can come in, and if the Titans don't look totally incompetent with them like they have with other quarterbacks they've taken recently, I can see him doing fairly well, but odds-on favorite for me, I'm just going to have to agree with Vegas and go with Ashton Genty. But I am still fingers crossed. Titans look better. And go Cam Ward.
Yeah, I think they'll be better. I just think it's going to be hard to get enough wins. I just think with that offensive line, it's just going to be rough.
It is a favorable I know that the Texans have been good. The Colts are kind of in a weird spot right now. Jags are kind of in a weird spot right now. New head coach, new GM. Trevor Lawrence has kind of been up and down. It's a division where they could probably steal 2 or 3 games, and then you're talking 2, 3, 4 games outside that. I think it's doable. To James's point, I said 6, he said 7, so we're kind of in that same ballpark. All of a sudden, you get a little iffy. And again, quarterback, it's such a quarterback-driven league. They're going to want to give it to especially him being the number 1 overall pick. I think they're going to want to give it to him if they can.
And you could go 7-9 in the AFC South, and guess what? You can win it. It's that bad of a division that you can literally finish well under 500 And hey, guys, here's your trip to the playoffs. Not only that, you get to have a home game.
Yeah, I mean, if he did that, it's kind of like, I mean, obviously, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders had a better record than that, but you get him to the playoffs like Jaden Daniels, and it's going to be, open and shut, not even close.
If the Titans get to the quarter or get to the
I think they're in playoff
on his
contention.
back. Oh, they are. I mean, everybody in the AFC South is in playoff contention because all of them are so bad that all of them can lose to each other.
Yeah.
It's one of those that I can see, all the AFC South teams, and you take all of their schedules together, maybe, it could be as low as 8 wins outside of the division. Most of those teams are going to get their wins from simply playing in the division up against just a bad division. It's sad, but hey, take advantage of what's put in front of you, Titans. Yeah. If you're in a bad division, use that to your advantage. Win 7 games, make playoffs. That's awful, but hey, you can get there, guys.
It's not your fault. You don't pick your division, right? You're just there. So
you just got to win your division, and you're there.
Yeah, win the division automatically. And all right, defensive rookie of the year. We'll go in reverse order. I guess I'll start. I got Abdul Carter. Malik Williams, maybe, but I just think Abdul Carter was the best player in the draft, was the most physical player in the draft. I think he's going to make the fastest impact to a defense, especially coming into New York. So give me Abdul Carter at the plus 250.
Yeah, I like Abdul Carter a lot as a player. Obviously, he was one of the top players. I actually had money on him going number 1 overall. Did not hit, but it was a nice shot in the dark there. For these odds, I actually kind of like Jalen Walker. I think Abdul Carter, I think part of what's going to hurt Carter is the division he's in. I think hunting down Jaden Daniels and hunting down Jalen Hurts, he may struggle to get sacks in some of those games. And, those are 2 elusive quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts is built like a tank. So he may struggle. I mean, as opposed to Jalen Walker, you're talking whoever the Saints line up at quarterback, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Baker Mayfield is an elusive guy, but not built like those guys. You got Bryce Young. I mean, you're talking a guy who in division could maybe feast on some of these quarterbacks. The Panthers aren't a great squad. I don't think the Saints end up being a great squad. So you have the Bucs and then the Falcons here, if they're vying and Jalen Walker ends up 8-9 sacks. I think at plus 900, I think his value is great compared to Abdul Carter's.
Yeah, I think I agree with Tyler and say Jalen Walker just because the division, again, NFC South's one of the weaker divisions. So I think because of that, he's going to be able to have a lot more opportunity to probably pad the stats a little bit more, have better numbers at the end of the year.
All right, we'll do one more before we take a break. I found this prop bet, and I got to say it's my favorite one that I found today. So, who takes the first snap of the season at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? We got Kenny Pickett at a 110, Joe Flacco at a 200, Sanders at a 300, Gabriel at a plus 1,000, and Deshaun Watson at a plus 2,000.
The fact that Sanders is above Gabriel, despite the fact the Browns drafted Gabriel before Sanders, is kind of comical to me. Clearly, the Browns think Dylan Gabriel's better at this juncture. So, why is it priced this way? If it's not Joe Flacco, they didn't bring Joe Flacco back for no reason. I know they traded for Kenny Pickett. Get out of here. I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny Pickett doesn't make the roster at all. I think it's going to be Joe Flacco. I don't even think it's going to be close. He's got experience in the system. He took them to the playoffs. I think for 2-to-1 odds, I think Flacco's a great bet there.
Yeah, same thing. Like, unless the season starts out where, like, Flacco played and he got injured, like in one of the preseason games, he can't start game 1, then I see somebody else. Outside of that, I think it's Joe Flacco, hands down. Really.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it's Flacco at the plus 200. I almost see Kenny Pickett being a sacrifice, when you got to get down to the 53-man. Yeah. Because you got 5 guys sitting there right now.
See, that's be a waste. They traded for him, and then you're cutting the guy. You know what I mean?
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
But it'd be a classic Browns move. We're being honest.
Yeah, I mean, you can have 16 guys on, the practice squad. Do you put Gabriel and Sanders both over there?
I think they just traded for him so that they could tell, Myles Garrett, when he was saying he wanted to get paid and he wanted to play with a Super Bowl winning quarterback. They were like, look, we bought you Kenny Pickett. He won a Super Bowl.
Heck, Flacco's won a Super Bowl. He's got 2 Super Bowl winners sitting right there.
That was after the fact, and now he's got 2. But, just to kind of appease him,
And you don't know how the draft process is going to go if you're the Browns. So, maybe Kenny Pickett was insurance if they didn't find the guy they liked. And I don't think they found the guy they liked if they didn't draft a quarterback before the end of the 3rd round anyway.
You drafted 2. You weren't sure on either one of them.
Well, yeah, and you didn't pick either of them early. So, how confident are you on either? So, I think it was insurance. Just you had Flacco and somebody. And I think they got 2 and somebody's now. So, yeah, what are you doing with Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, Rick, the Browns have already said for the 5th-year option for Kenny Pickett, no thank you.
Yeah. So he's a one-year rental at best,
yeah,
I guess?
So, I mean, you brought him in for the year. You've already made that statement. So, and that's kind of why I think he could be on the chopping block, is because they've already basically told him, look, your future's not here. We got you for this year, but we are not going to have you next year. So that's kind of where I get my thought process for that. All right, guys, going to take another break. When we get back, we will have our $2 bets, and we will talk what happened this day in history. You are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN 104.3, 101.9, and you are in the CBC Construction Studios.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
The Atlanta Braves are back.
Fly ball high in the air to deep left field. This thing is clear for takeoff.
And tonight, the Bravos are at the Colorado Rockies. We'll have coverage from Coors Field coming up at 6:25. First pitch at 7:40. Listen in a rich audio experience right here on your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Oh, baby, what a lift.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Hey, it's David Hayes from ESPN Northwest Florida. If you're hurt in a car accident or slip and fall, listen up. Jed Lawyers is the firm I trust. Here's what you need to know. You pay nothing unless they win your case. That's right. No upfront costs, no out-of-pocket fees, no fine print. They only get paid if you get paid. And the best part, they're right here in downtown Panama City on McKenzie Avenue. Call 850-852-0000 or visit jedwins.com. The fee is free unless they win. That's Jed Lawyers.
Do you want to eat like a local? The Local 115 is now open. Local drinks, local sports, and local food. Delicious oysters, crab cakes, steamed seafood, gumbos, salads, paninis, wings, wine, and cold beer. Nothing fried. That's right. No fried foods at Local 115. Amazing local food with an exciting local sports and mural theme. Eat like a local at the Local 115. 115 Harrison Avenue, downtown Panama City.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Eat, sleep, game. This is your sports obsession. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Afternoon Underdogs. James Fife, Tyler Bishop, Caveman Rick. Final segment of our Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to all of our listeners out there in the Panama City, Northwest Florida, and to all of you listening across the app, all across this great world of ours. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us. We are 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe, and of course, download the app. You can call or text us on the Jed Lawyers phone and text line, 850-215-6290. We're going to be doing our $2 bets of the day, and then I will get into a little bit of history. After that, I'll get the ball rolling on our bets. My first bet, a simple one. I will take the Magic tonight at a plus 11.5. My $2 bet, if it hits, will make me $3.90. Guys, somebody volunteer for next?
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll take a $2 bet on something that it's not going to win me probably a lot of money. Let me see what the odds are right now. I'll put $2 on the Braves tonight since they're playing the Rockies. Only got 4 wins, right? So 4 wins on the year, pretty safe bet. Betting on the Rockies to lose. So if you put $2 on the Braves at minus 200, oh, look at there. You get your $2 back plus $1. $3.
Hey, there you go. Got a buck out of it.
See, that's why you got to take the spread. You got to take that little more money, a little more action in the game here. If I was going to do one, I'd follow up on Caveman Riggs. I'd probably take the Braves at 1.5, though, and then the under 11. And then, I think at that point, $2 would pay like $6.50.
There we go. Not a bad one. Not a bad one. My second one is a parlay, and with the Braves, like you guys, I got the Braves giving up the 1.5 runs. I'm going on the over at 10.5, and I say A.J. Smith-Shavers goes over the strike total of 4.5. My $2 bet there, if it hits, will make me a grand total of 10.
All right, for me, another one. The game's already started, so I can't tell you what the bet would be. But I already put some money on this along with another, a few legs of the parlay. But because the Phillies are playing Washington tonight, Washington's not so great. But Zach Wheeler tonight pitching. I think the over and under was like 6.5 on strikeouts. Took the over, so he gets 7. Should get it. I think if he does 6 or 7 innings, he should get there, no problem. So my $2 bet probably would have paid about the same thing, probably about a $1.50, something like that. I imagine. Like I said, can't look at it right now though, unfortunately.
Tyler, got another one?
I'm going to give you all a nice, fun, long shot bet here, year-long bet here. So really get your money's worth out of this $2. Jaden Mayava, starting quarterback, USC. 25-1 odds to be the first pick off the board next year. Playing for Lincoln Riley, who has produced 3 number 1 overall picks at quarterback, and Jalen Hurts. So if you got to throw $2 at 25-1 odds, $2 wins you your $2 back plus 50. For a guy who's produced 3 of the last 6 first-round picks, or number 1 overall picks, like you're taking a 50-50 shot at 50-1 odds, basically.
Not a bad thought. Not a bad thought.
Swing big, right?
Might as well. I mean, hey, you're going to sit on that $2 for a good while. Might as well let it grow, right?
Yeah, make it count.
Man.
All right, got one more for you guys. I'm going to go to some hockey right now. Leafs taking on the Senators. I got the Leafs just for the win, and the goal total being over 5.5. My $2 bet will pay me $3.70 if it hits. Anybody else got any more?
Shoot, I guess I can do a hockey one if I was going to do one. Hate to say it though, man, but LA's been all over Edmonton, right?
They have.
It's just been crazy. I would have thought Edmonton was actually going to make a run this year, and it might not look like it might be over here pretty soon, like even tonight. I would take LA. I would take a parlay with a couple of the guys off of their main line, the AK line, if you will. Let me see which 2 guys I would probably take here just real quick. Of the 3, I would probably take Adrian Kempe, and I'd probably take Kozemenko, each to get a point.
Yeah,
so if I was to do that, let's see what that would give me here real quick. Kempe, and let me find Kozemenko on here. So that would be a $2 bet there, would pay out $13. So not too bad. I think I would go there because both those guys playing on the same line. More than likely, if a goal is scored, they'll each probably get a point. One guy get the goal, one guy get the assist. So there you go.
And I think Edmonton is just falling apart right now, so I like your chance of getting some goals with that line. Tyler, you got any more for us?
One more fun one if you're interested, again, in a nice year-long bet here. I think LSU to win the SEC in college football next year is getting some good value. They're sitting at plus 750. So I think their odds are 6th best in the league, and I think they've got some good talent coming back here, returning quarterback. So $2 would net you $17 payback. So again, you're sitting on that $2 for a while, but it's a chance to make a little bit better odds on it.
So you're saying championship game, not overall season winner.
So, to win the SEC championship in football.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
okay.
I think for where they're priced, it's a pretty decent bet right now.
Right on. All right, our $2 bets for the day. I'll roll into a little bit of history, and if we got some time after that, we'll cover some news. This day, 1901, his Evanescence, ridden by Jimmy Winkfield, wins the Kentucky Derby by 1.5 lengths over Sanzaro in the only Kentucky Derby that was ever raced in the month of April. This day, 1961, ABC's Wide World of Sports makes its debut on ABC.
The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
1981, MLB Philadelphia Phillies Steve Carlton is the first lefty to strike out 3,000 batters.
Word.
1985, New York Yankees fire manager Yogi Berra 16 games into the season, despite the assurance from George Steinbrenner that the great Yogi Berra would be able to manage the whole season. Billy Martin was named his replacement, and that was like, the third or fourth time that the Yankees hired Billy Martin?
Yeah. Why would you fire a guy 16 games into I mean, I'm sure the season may have been a little shorter back then, but like, what's
No, it was still 162.
What are we doing? Like, 10%, I guess?
I mean, it's George Steinbrenner. Okay. I mean, that's just what George Steinbrenner did back in the 70s and 80s.
Berra, too, it's a legend for the franchise as well. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, that'd be like firing an NFL coach halfway through the second game of the, you know, say like we're talking percentage of the season.
Yeah, and somebody that was like historically great
that'd
for
be like
your
the
team.
49ers like having like Joe Montana as the coach and like, 3 games in, like firing him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, after you said, "Hey Joe, you're going to be here the whole time."
Yeah. That's
not a great look for the Yankees there, but that's I mean, if you look at the Yankees in the 80s, they were an awful team. They were a bad, awful team in the 80s. 1986 NFL Draft. Some guy named Bo Jackson is the first player taken overall by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 1988, the Baltimore Ravens defeat the Chicago White Sox 9-0. This is a big deal because that is the game that broke the record losing streak in Major League Baseball at 21 losses in a row.
That's Orioles, not Ravens.
Yeah, Orioles. Yep, Orioles. Did I say Ravens?
Yeah.
One of those bird teams.
Yeah, reading too far ahead on myself. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yep. And one more for you guys. This day, 2014, Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling is banned for life by the NBA in response to racist comments he made in an audio recording. The Clippers owner was also fined $2.5 million, the maximum amount allowed under the NBA Constitution at the time.
That's insane that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, right. It seems like it wasn't really that long ago.
I started reading it, I was like, wait, what? That was 11 years ago? I remember that. Like, that was a crazy, wow.
Yeah, I remember when that audio came out, and I was like, ooh, he's done.
Yeah, God,
there's no way the NBA is.
And then Baltimore got the team, and I mean, the team's doing better, but like not like what you would have thought, though. It's still pretty, still kind of a bad team in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's still not the greatest team out there, but they're getting to more playoffs now.
No, they are. They're making a name for themselves being in L.A. It was like always, the Laker town, and now you got a fair amount of Clippers players, but yeah, it's still big brother to little brother for sure.
And I mean, and playing in the same arena as the Lakers, I don't think that helps, man. Because let's face it, Crypto Arena is the Lakers arena. Like you talk to people around L.A. or just around, it's like, hey, what NBA team plays at the Crypto? Lakers.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 people are going to tell you, oh, yeah, the Lakers play there. And it's like, well, what about the Clippers? And they're like, oh, yeah, they play there too.
Yeah.
Like total afterthought that they play there.
Well, I kind of feel like it's probably a much different situation. I kind of feel like the Rams and the Chargers are kind of the same. Like, I think if you say L.A. and you're talking about NFL, I instantly think I forget that the Chargers are in L.A. half the time talking about the Chargers. Like, it's just, maybe it's just me personally, but like talking about LA, I just never think of the Chargers being there.
I mean, the Chargers are like the 7th most popular football team in LA to begin with. I mean, you got the Rams, then you got UCLA, then you got USC. You probably got a high school team.
Got love there still.
Yeah, the Raiders still get love there. I mean, then there's probably like an AAU football team that has way more following than
Cam
the Chargers.
Newton's 7-on-7 flag football.
Yeah, I mean, they probably got more fans than the Chargers actually.
But it's just so weird because I just I catch myself just referring to them as LA at times and be like, oh, there's actually 2 LA football teams. You have to kind of like, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, and then they played that one year in a soccer stadium, and that was awful. And now they're splitting it with the Rams. Yeah, that's the Rams stadium.
Yeah. And then again, the Rams were in St. Louis too for a handful of years.
Yeah.
Well, the Rams were there were they there a year before the Chargers, or did they move there the same year?
They were there a year or two.
Okay, so that may be part of the reason also. But yeah,
the Rams did come from L.A. to St. Louis back to L.A.
Yeah, I just don't think of the Chargers being L.A. Like I have to catch myself from saying San Diego sometimes because I still think of them as the San Diego Chargers.
I mean, I still think they got all their fan base down in San Diego, the ones that actually still care. I don't think like when they moved to L.A. I don't think a whole bunch of people in L.A. went, oh, cool, the Chargers are here. I'm a Chargers fan now. Yeah. Because there was already pro football there. There was already high-level college football there. It's like you're just going into a market that's already saturated.
You already have a bunch of transplants there, too, in that area that come from all around the country. So just because you're in L.A., you got people that are Green Bay fans, Philadelphia fans, Miami fans, just wherever, that just found their way to the L.A. area. So you got that you're fighting against, too. So
I mean, if you watch Chargers games and you look into the stands at home, maybe half the people are wearing Chargers stuff. That's pretty bad. I mean, you can even go to a Titans game when the Titans are bad. It's still 70 to 80% of the people in that stadium at least wearing Titans-esque colors.
Yeah, or at least maybe some Oilers stuff, or, at least some,
at least something that is in a relative sense to the team that you're watching in their stadium.
Well, I mean, it's crazy when you watch the Steelers play anybody; they take over everybody's stadium.
Oh,
it's insane. Is it that they travel that well, or is it that they were so good in like the 70s? Like maybe
I don't
just
think
like birth.
travel. It's just you have a huge fan base everywhere. It's like the Cowboys too. I mean, back in the 90s when they were winning, like I remember as a kid growing up, like over in the East Coast, like outside of Philly, the Eagles weren't so great. You had a bunch of kids like wearing Dallas stuff and rooting for Dallas, and only because they were winning. So of course, people want to gravitate, and root for the winners. So that's why they're rooting for that team,
America's team.
But I'm sure now, they got smart and they're like, hey, my roots were here in Philly or wherever, and now I'm rooting for the real team instead of just like whatever team I was rooting for when I was a dumb kid.
Well, I mean, let's face it, since, let's go the year 2000, from the year 2009, the Eagles have a much higher class of relevance than the Cowboys do.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
By many fathoms.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, since 2000, the Cowboys have they even won a playoff game?
I don't know. Since 2000, the Eagles have got 20.
And they've been to
games?
4 Super Bowls in that time?
I want to say 5.
3. We went to, we lost to the Patriots. We beat the Patriots. 4. Lost the Patriots, beat the Patriots. Lost
the Chiefs, beat the Chiefs?
Kansas City beat Kansas City.
Sorry.
Okay. And then our 5th one was when we lost to the Rams in 1980.
Okay, yeah, because I thought Eagles did make the NFC Championship game sometime in the early 2000s.
We had, actually, the NFC Championship game, we did 4 or 5 years in a row. We lost to, the Panthers one year. We lost to, I believe, the Falcons one year. We lost to Tampa Bay, 1 year, and we lost to somebody else another year as well. So,
all right, guys, our time has come to an end. Thank you guys so much tuning in, hanging out with us here on the Afternoon Underdog, sponsored by CBC, right here in the Construction Studios. I'm James Fife. Thank you, Tyler Bishop.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Caveman Rick.
Hey, Tom.
Everybody, enjoy the evening. We will talk to you tomorrow.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Hi, this is Dave Neat from Panama City Beach, and I just won $250 from 104.3